Let's answer the stupid question that no one's asking. If the if the Hollow Knight charms were in Silksong, what color of tools would they be? I'm sure you're all aware by now. Silksong tools are either red tools, blue tools, or yellow tools, which are kind of similar classifications with a few outliers here and there. So I got a little curious. What if we place them all? What color would these each be? Now, for example, a lot of these kind of have counterparts. For example, Carefree Melody is a Hollow Knight charm that gives you a chance for a free hit upon taking damage, which functions the same as the Magnetite dice, which is a yellow tool. So we're going to throw Carefree Melody in yellow. I think that would be a yellow tool if it was in Silksong, because we have evidence of so. Now, Grimchild, this functions like a minion, which is a throwable or a spawnable or whatever the heck you want to call it. I would classify it similar to the Cogfly, which is a red tool. Next up, we have Dream Wielder, which is the one-notch charm that speeds up your Dream Nail. It also gives you more soul from successful Dream Nail hits, which is pretty nice. In terms of similar tools, I believe this would be similar to the Spider Strings, which I don't know what this does. It says it expands and strengthens the effects of the needle in. Does it unlock a secret area? I don't know what it does. If you guys know what it does, it's a yellow tool. For sure. Now, the Dream Shield. 3 notches, spawns a little shield around you. That's tricky. It's kind of like a throwable, right? Because it spins around you. We don't have any protective tools like that. We don't have any protective throwables. They're all offensive throwables. So I'm almost curious. I guess the snare setter, like you set a trap, maybe? Hovers around you. I wouldn't classify it as a blue. Blues are more passive effects, right? Like it's not something you need to specifically activate. Blues just kind of go on their own. I think I would consider Dream Shield a deployable. Let me know if you guys think it might be blue instead. Oh, let's find the similar ones. Okay. Health, extra health. These are blues, right? This is a passive effect. You're just passively gaining 2 extra masks. I think that's fair to throw those in blue. Yeah, we don't really have a counterpart for that in Silksong. I guess you could argue the Plasmium Files, but I think just having it innately is different. Now, the Strength charms. We've got Fragile Strength, Unbreakable Strength, 50% boost in your damage. I think this equates to kind of like the Flint Slate, which is a red tool. Flint Slate is the one that lights your blade on fire, and you have to cast it. You kind of have to activate it. We've got another minion here. Glowing Womb spawns the little babies. That is definitely another red tool like Hogflies. Heavy Blow, Heavy Blow. It's been a minute. Is that 2 notches? I think it might be 2 notches. This guy is yellow tool, and the reason I say that is because we've got a heavy... Oh, wait. I think Heavy Blow and where's the other one? Steady Body kind of go hand in hand. They're kind of opposites of each other. You take no knockback when hitting enemies. Enemies take extra knockback when you hit them. I think they go hand in hand. They remind me of the yellow tool, the Weighted Belt. The wearer will recoil less when striking foes and will not be flung as far when taking damage. They're both knockback related. Even though they're passive effects that might classify as a blue, we've got a yellow tool that's similar that I would classify these two as yellow. Hive Blood. Interesting. Hive Blood is that passive regen. We've got some blues that are somewhat similar. Like we don't have passive healing regen, but we have like kind of passive silk regen. Reds are more like things that need to be activated or thrown. Blue is a passive over time sort of thing. I think that Hive Blood would definitely be a blue tool. Same deal. We just talked about the Weave Light and passive silk regen. This would definitely go in blue. It reminds me of the Weave Light, and that it slowly generates silk for you. I know the Weave Light has a limit. It only does up to your silk hearts plus 1 notch of silk, but that's where I would throw that. Let's grab the Lifeblood charms. Oh shoot. Lifeblood. I forget their names. Lifeblood, Core. No. Heart, Core, and Joni's Blessing? Is that right? Fact check me. Don't fact check me. Probably wrong. We've got Plasmium Files, which are reds. They have to be activated. However, this is kind of just like they get slapped on. This is kind of a tricky in-between. I might throw these in question marks for now. We can always revisit that. Let's do our 2 ranged ones. Now, we do actually have an equivalent to Long Nail and Mark of Pride in Silksong. It's the Long Claw. It increases the range of your needle attacks. Now, the increase that it gives you depends on what crest you're using. For example, on the Reaper crest, which already has a decent range, you're not going to get a big increase from this. I don't know the exact percents off the top of my head. But if you're using the Wanderer crest, which has a notoriously stubby base attack, the percent increase is larger. So for the sake of just classifying these together, Long Claw is a blue tool, so I will throw Long Nail and Mark of Pride in the blue tools. Next up, we have Nailmaster's Glory, which actually has a 1-for-1 Silksong equivalent as well. I believe it's a yellow. Let me just triple check. Where are you? Where are you? Are you blue? Oh, hang on. Are you blue? It's a blue. Okay, Pin Badge. Pin Badge reduces the charge time of the Needle Strike. Nailmaster's Glory reduces the charge time of your nail arts. Therefore, Nailmaster's Glory would be a blue. Shaman Stone. The equivalent to Shaman Stone, I would equate that to the Volt Filament, which boosts your silk skill damage significantly. Therefore, Volt Filament is blue, Shaman Stone would be blue. Lots of blue so far. Let's see. We've got Shape of Un. Now, I think this is yellow. Let me just confirm. Shape of Un lets you move while you heal. We've got some movement related ones in Scuttle Brace and Ascendant's Grip. I'm going to consider Shape of Un a yellow tool if it were in Silksong, as it just increases your mobility. Next up, we've got some Soul Generation, Soul Saving Charms. Let me grab the other one. We're missing Soul Catcher. These are just increased different percentages for different notch amounts. I'm going to classify these 3 together. We don't have anything in Silksong that's equivalent to these 3. Like, there's no blue tool to just build more silk upon hit. It doesn't exist. There's no... Whoa. Where'd Spell Twister go? Why is it over here? There isn't one for spending less silk upon casting a spell. It doesn't exist. However, the closest we have, like, there isn't really a silk regeneration one other than Weave Light, which is blue. Druid's Eyes gives you silk upon getting hit. All the silk related ones appear to be blue. Reserve Bind gives you an extra reserve of silk. Spool Extender lets you hold more silk at a time. I think that if we had to take a guess, these 3 silk related ones would all be blue. Silk, Soul, same thing, different name. I know it's not the same lore wise, but gameplay wise, mechanically, it's the currency you're spending to cast spells. So I'm going to treat Soul related charms as silk related tools. It would go in blue if their effects were 1-for-1. Stalwart Shell, I believe this is 2 notches, right? This one gives you more iframes upon getting hit. We don't have an equivalent at all in Silksong that I'm aware of. However, we have weird stuff like knockback, take double damage to deal more, movement. I think that Stalwart Shell would be a nice yellow tool. More iframes, take up a yellow slot. That sounds cool to me. Weaver Song, this is a good one. More minions, more deployables. That's going to be an easy red. I feel like the reds are super obvious here for the most part. Like it's all the minion ones. However, there might be, I think there's a couple more that we might have to throw in red that I wasn't expecting. Let's look when we get here. Balder Shell. This is basically, Balder Shell is a worse version of what we got in Silksong. They upgraded Balder Shell to the Warding Bell. The Warding Bell is Balder Shell, but it like explodes if something hits it, which is super sick. Warding Bell is blue, therefore Balder Shell I would throw in blue. Blue is looking pretty stacked. Let's do our movement related ones. We've got movement related tools in Silksong. We've got Scuttle Brace, here you are, and Silk Speed Anklets, which use silk to increase your sprint speed. Since those are both yellow tools, they're both movement related, Dash Master and Sprint Master, I am throwing in yellow. Deep Focus and Quick Focus. We've got these in Silksong. Quick Focus would be the equivalent to the multi-binder. No, I'm sorry. I said Quick Focus first. Oh, Deep Focus. Deep Focus would be the multi-binder, which is... Oh, where'd you go? Here, multi-binder. You can kind of use the same amount of silk for double heals. And then... Oh, wow, I'm getting the icons mixed up. This is Quick Focus. This is Deep Focus. I'm so sorry. Deep Focus is the one we were just talking about that equates to multi-binder. Quick Focus is the same as the Injection Band. These are both blues. These are both related to healing. I would throw them in blue tools if they were in Silksong. Vendor's Crest. This is a passive stink cloud around you as you walk around. This is a tricky one. I'm gonna have to revisit Defender's Crest. I don't know if we have much that equates 1 for 1. Actually, we do. Defender's Crest is the worst version. Defender's Crest is the diet soda version of the Polyp Pouch. The Polyp Pouch is everything Defender's Crest wanted to be. Polyp Pouch applies venom to every red tool in Silksong just by equipping it. Defender's Crest is Baby's version. It sometimes applies dung effects to your other charms, and the dung effects are all terrible because it adds AoE that enemies could get out of and lowers your burst damage. So it's like, it's just better to not have Defender's Crest on 99% of the time. Polyp Pouch is blue. Defender's Crest would unfortunately be blue. It's literally just a worse version of Polyp Pouch, which is blue. Fluke Nest. This one alters your spells. So far, everything spell related has been blue. Oh, sorry. I was just trying to show them off. All these spell ones are in blue. I hate to throw it in blue when we have so many, but I think it might go there. Oh, hang on. Why is there an extra heart? Don't worry about that. There's an extra heart in here. I already have both up here. Fluke Nest. Fluke Nest. I think Fluke Nest is functionally, thinking out loud, somewhat similar to the Volt Filament. It alters how your spells behave. While Volt Filament doesn't necessarily alter how your spells behave, it does alter how they look, and it alters their damage, which Fluke Nest oh shoot, that's my channel. Fluke Nest does do. I think it has to go in blue. So many blues.
Yo, I'm really sorry, okay?
What is wrong with you? Why are you blue?
Okay. Greed. These are yellows, right? It's got to be yellow. Not just because they're actually physically yellow, but because it reminds me of the Razor Shard, which, whatchamacalls it? It increases your shell shards dropped by enemies. Now, Tangent. I had that Razor Shard. Where are you? You, yellow. Shard Pendant. Sorry. I had the Shard Pendant on basically the whole game. And I was always out of shards 24/7. Maybe it's a me issue. I feel like I didn't use tools 24/7, but I would use them here and there, and especially in boss fights. And even with an increase in the shards I got, I never had enough for tools. Like, I was always like, man, I might need to go farm. I really don't want to go farm. I might need to go farm. It really sucked. I didn't hate it, but I disliked how shard conscious I was 24/7, even with a shard boosting item on. Tangent over. Greed would be yellow. for boosting currency gained, as seen with the Shard Pendant in Silksong. Fury of the Fallen. This one's interesting. It's kind of a passive, but it's also kind of reminds me of activating Flint Slate or something like that. I think you could argue that it could be blue, but I'm gonna throw it in red because like damage boosting tools in Silksong, Flint Slate and Flea Brew, DPS boosting ones rather, Flint Slate and Flea Brew. Flint Slate just straight up boosts your damage. Flea Brew boosts your swing rate as well as your movement speed, but that's unrelated. I think that boosting DPS, I would throw that in red, kind of similar. Gathering Swarm, we do have a Silksong equivalent of this one for one basically. Gathering Swarm pulls your Geo into you in Hollow Knight. In Silksong, we have the, what is it? Magnetite Brooch. Yeah, Magnetite Brooch. It pulls rosaries into you. That is a yellow tool, 110%. Grubberfly's Elegy. This is tricky. It shoots out the laser beams only when you're at full health. It's kind of just Shaman Crest, but worse, right? Shaman Crest, you get the laser beam all the time. Grubberfly, you need to put the charm on. Kind of tricky that they split that. I'm thinking the only full health tool that we have in Silksong is the Egg of Lelia, which decreases the... We do have a decrease the cost of silk skills. Pause. Rewind. It's accurate to put Spell Twister in blue then, because Egg of Lelia is in blue and decreases the cost of silk skills while health is in full. I thought it increased the damage of silk skills while your health was full. That is my mistake, and I totally feel justified now in putting Spell Twister in blue. Tricky. Elegy, Grubberfly's Elegy. Let me think on that. You're gonna go in question mark for now. Grubsong, we have an equivalent for you in Silksong. We are the Druid's Eye and the Druid's Eyes. Now, if you got the Druid's Eye and you're like, dang, this sucks, I miss Grubsong, it doesn't give me enough silk per hit, upgrade it to the Druid's Eyes, then come back. It's a lot better. It's not as strong as Grubsong, because Grubsong has like cool other synergies with other charms, like Weaver Song, for example. But it's still pretty good, the upgraded version. Now, Druid's Eyes is a blue tool, therefore, if Grubsong were in Silksong, it would be a blue tool. Didn't we already do Nail Master's Glory? We did. Get out of here. What is with these extras? Get out of here. Quick Slash. Now, I know where this one goes. Quick Slash. If it was in Silksong, it would be a red tool. I did touch on the Flea Brew earlier, which boosts your swing rate, your swing speed. Now, Quick Slash is infamous for boosting your DPS as well as your soul generation in Hollow Knight. Flea Brew does the same thing. You're getting more hits in more rapidly, your damage is up, and your silk generation is up. Functions the same as Flea Brew, except Flea Brew, you kind of have to activate it. You got to drink your orange juice, whereas Quick Slash is just innately on once you spend your 3 notches. Sharp Shadow. This one's interesting because Silksong does not have a Shadow Dash equivalent currently, unless you count Sharp Dart. It takes an ability and adds a damaging element to it. I don't know if we have anything similar. Let me throw that in question mark for now. We'll circle back in a second. Spore Shroom is fun. Your heal adds a damaging burst. Now, we do have a Silksong equivalent, and it puts Spore Shroom to shame. Claw Mirror, specifically Claw Mirrors, does a ton of DPS. Now, if you have Witch Crest on, you throw on Injector Band and Claw Mirrors, you are nuking whatever is right next to you. And you're doing it pretty quickly as well because of the Injector Band. This is a blue. If it were in Silksong, the Spore Cloud upon healing, that is certainly a blue effect based on the Claw Mirrors being able to do the same thing. Steady Body, I swear I covered you. I did. You're in yellow already. Get out of here. It looks like these 3 are just the extras. Now, Thorns of Agony. You get hit, shoot out thorns. There is a tool for this. Similar. The Memory Crystal. I haven't tested it yet. When taking damage, a memory of the bear is formed in crystal. The memory will shatter into sharp spines if an enemy comes into contact. I have not tested this tool yet, but it is a blue tool. Therefore, if Thorns were in Silksong, it would be a blue tool. We're almost done. Let me do Void Heart after this. Good gracious. Compass is a yellow tool. The compass in Silksong, there's a compass in Hollow Knight. The Silksong compass is yellow. Therefore, the Hollow Knight compass would be yellow if it were in Silksong. Last one not on the board is Void Heart. We don't have a tool that just auto equips itself in Silksong at all. I'm gonna throw this in question mark, and let's take a last look at these guys. These guys are stumping my brain. I think since Lifeblood, the Lifeblood file, the Plasmium file in Silksong is red. I think I have to throw these guys in red, but I could see that since they're more passive in Hollow Knight, like you rest at a bench and you just innately get these, that might be more of a blue effect, but I see Lifeblood is in red. I'm gonna throw it in red for now. Rubberflies is also tripping my brain out. It's like the effect is on a crest now, and it's just all the time and not only at full health. I feel like this should be red. I don't know. Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong. And then last one, Sharp Shadow. Sharp Shadow adds a damaging element to a movement ability. Wait, we do have something similar to Sharp Shadow. A damaging element to a movement ability. Where is it? I think it's blue. I hate throwing everything in blue, but what are you gonna do? Found it. The Sawtooth Circlet. Flaring the cloak will spin the blades, damaging surrounding enemies. If you use your float or your double jump while Sawtooth Circlet, the blue tool is equipped. If you use one of those two movement abilities, you deal like a damaging burst. It's a burst damage. Sharp Shadow would be a blue tool if it was in Hollow Knight Silksong. That's all of them. I don't think we can place Void Heart at this time because we don't have an equivalent. But if I absolutely had to, I think it would be yellow. Just cause, I don't know, yellow's weird. But right now, there's nothing really too similar. I think I'd throw it in yellow. Let me know what you guys think about these. Are there any that you think should be classified differently? I do have another fun idea for a video, which would kind of be the opposite. So it was, if the Silksong tools were in Hollow Knight, how many charm notches would they cost? That one would definitely take a lot more time and research. Probably be scripted instead of kind of off the top of my head like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the road ahead.